In the third chapter of Secret History by Donna Tartt, Henry Winter saves Richard Papin's life. And that's possibly the worst thing that could happen to Richard, because Richard's been working to gain access to this inner circle of Greek students in this exclusive college in Hampton. And he's going to learn that admission can also be entrapment, and that some doors only open inward. The Secret History, Donna Tartt, what is it? Think of it this way. It's basically Harry Potter, but for cynical adults, where instead of magic, you get murder. No, instead of magic, you get Greek. Instead of the charming world building, you uncover alcoholism and incest. And it's a great book. So I've already identified the third chapter is, in my opinion, the key turning point. For the first couple of chapters, Richard is arriving at Hampton College, and he's basically performing. He is desperate for acceptance, and he identifies this group of Greek students led by eccentric, exclusive Professor Julian, and he mistakes exclusivity for intimacy, and he becomes desperate for acceptance. At this third chapter, at the end of the first term at Hampton College, and everyone's going away, his friends, they're leaving to go on trips to Italy, and they're going with their rich family and to nice places, and Richard is essentially, his family doesn't care, and he's on his own, he has no money. So he winds up taking these lodgings at an empty warehouse with a hole in the roof in the middle of a brutal winter in Vermont. And that's the reason that when Henry finds him, he's almost frozen to death. And the interesting thing about Richard as the protagonist and the narrator is that this third chapter is also a hinge because he earns our loyalty. Up to this point, Richard has been very unsympathetic. We recognize him as weak. We recognize him as a liar. And he's basically trying to appear to be better than he is, to be smarter, to know more Greek than he does, to have more money than he does. And in this pivotal moment when Henry discovers him, we think that Henry's going to judge him. And actually, instead, Henry saves him. His motivation in that, we can see, is ambiguous, because we don't know whether it's just endearing to him to see that blend of toughness and stubbornness and artifice that's in Richard, and to contrast that with the victim, the murder victim. And I'm not giving a spoiler here, because in the first sentence of the whole book, we know that Bunny is the victim, and we know that the inner circle is going to wind up killing Bunny. But we have Richard's contrast between toughness and artifice and stubbornness, contrasted with Bunny and his freeloading and his willingness to exploit his knowledge of what the inner circle has done in order to basically fund his expensive tastes. And that's another thing that Donna Tartt is doing. She's trapping us as readers, because we are increasingly experiencing Bunny through the eyes of the future killers. We understand their fear, their exhaustion. Tartt does not persuade us to approve of murder. What she does instead is she gets us to become exhausted by the victim. It's really clever. Richard is rescued at the exact moment that he becomes most vulnerable to the group's moral logic. That's what seals his fate. So yeah, Henry Winter saves Richard Papin's life. Without him, he might have died alone in that freezing building, but also, Henry is giving Richard the thing he most desperately wants. Even more than survival, he wants to be included. He wants to belong. Richard spends the first part of the book trying to get inside, and the rest discovering that some doors open only inward. Okay, you've been procrastinating by watching this video, and you need to get to work and do the things you're supposed to be doing today. So, go on, go away.